There's an actual rule in the NFL that says don't take off your helmet and try to hit someone with it. Well, back in 2019, Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns didn't get the memo because he ripped off Mason Rudolph's own helmet and then used that helmet to hit him over the head with it. He was suspended, but that wasn't the first time this has happened. You see, back in 2013, Antonio Smith of the Houston Texans did the same thing during a preseason game, although not quite as successfully because he missed. Then before that, back in 2001, Kyle Turley of the New Orleans Saints ripped off Damian Robinson's helmet and just threw it up in the air. But the first time it ever happened, and the reason it was eventually banned, is because Lyle Alzado back in 1982 of the Oakland Raiders rips off Chris Ward's helmet and then threw it at him. Now he did this out of frustration during a playoff game, so it got a lot of attention. And so in 1983, due to serious concerns for player safety, the NFL introduced an automatic ejection rule for players who remove or throw a helmet in anger during a game. Another rule is, well, don't slap someone in the face. You see, back in the 1970s, Deacon Jones of the Los Angeles Rams used a head slap technique, and he did this to stun offensive linemen because it helped break their concentration, made them blink, and allowed them to break through and rush the quarterback. Well, this technique was believed to contribute to quite a few head and neck injuries, particularly since helmets at the time didn't provide the same kind of protection as the modern ones. So, in 1977, the NFL banned head slaps to reduce head trauma and improve player safety. And just a side note about Deacon Jones, not only did he contribute to getting the head slap technique banned, he's also known for popularizing the term sack, so he's the dude who coined it. Want to know why the horse collar tackle was banned? Well, on December 19, 2004, Roy Williams of the Dallas Cowboys injured Terrell Owens from the Philadelphia Eagles with a horse collar tackle, fracturing Owens' ankles. Now, the reason it was banned is because the tackle has caused multiple lower body injuries because the athlete, when pulling him down backwards, can make him fall in an awkward angle, or the tackling athlete can roll up on their legs, which puts the ball carrier at significant risk for lower body injuries. So the following season, in 2005, the NFL banned the horse collar tackle, penalizing players for grabbing an opponent's shoulder pads or jersey from behind in order to bring them down. The clothesline tackle is a staple of professional wrestling, but in the NFL, it's actually banned. In 1979, Cliff Harris of the Dallas Cowboys delivered a clothesline tackle to Sammy White of the Minnesota Vikings, and it caused a severe injury. Now, I couldn't find any clips of that specific event, but the reason it's banned is because clothesline tackles target the neck and chest and often leads to a head, neck, or spine injury due to the violent nature of it. Now, it's not technically banned, but officials have been known to throw flags for it as it kind of falls under the striking or swinging at the head or neck of an opponent. This guy literally put glue on his hands to help him catch the ball more easily, and it worked because he led the NFL in interceptions in 1980. This is Raiders cornerback Lester Hayes, and he became famous for his excessive use of Stickum. Stickum was a sticky substance that players applied to their hands to catch the ball more easily, and it became widespread during the 1980s, particularly used by Lester Hayes. The substance was seen as giving an unfair advantage when he led the NFL in interceptions, so the following year, 1981, the NFL banned Stickum and similar substances because they got multiple complaints from opposing teams and players about how much of an impact it was having on the game. Now, although Stickum was banned, players found a way around this because modern-day gloves are super sticky. It's kind of like what you see with track spikes, how there's a limited number of metal spikes that you can have on the bottom of a track shoe. So, shoe companies found a way around that by adding plastic spikes as a sneaky little loophole. Did you know that some teams will intentionally commit a penalty in order to use it as a strategy? You see, in 2013, in the final moments of Super Bowl 47, the Baltimore Ravens coach told all of their players to intentionally hold the San Francisco 49ers defensive players. I mean, literally grappling them, tackling them, hold them, take them to the ground. They did this to run the clock down, ultimately taking a safety in order to secure their victory. You see, the Ravens intentionally broke the rules, knowing the penalty would not affect the outcome beyond a safety, and since they were up over 2 points, they would win the game as they ran out the clock. This play highlighted a loophole in how holding penalties could be strategically used. And now, while no official rule change was made, the play did spark a lot of debate about whether teams should be allowed to manipulate the clock by intentionally committing penalties. Interesting strategy. In 2017, the NFL banned leaping over the offensive line or trying to time jumping over the long snapper in order to block a field goal. Now, they did this in order to protect both sides during field goal attempts, and the reason for the ban was this move posed a risk to both players attempting to leap, as well as the lineman, the long snapper, due to the high potential for a risk of falls and collisions. Can you believe the NFL has a rule that says don't stomp on another player when they're down? Well, apparently Ndamukong Suh didn't get the memo because in 2011, when he was on the Detroit Lions, he stomped on Evan Deirdre Smith's arm during the Thanksgiving Day game. A lot of news and media attention covered that, and it resulted in him getting ejected and suspended. But this wasn't the first or worst time this has happened. You see, back in 2006, Albert Haynesworth of the Tennessee Titans stomped on Andre Gord's head after his helmet actually came off, and that led to a 5-game suspension. So the NFL then put out a notice saying, hey, let's not do this anymore. This one involves Tom Brady. You see, at a 2002 playoff game between the New England Patriots and the Oakland Raiders, Tom Brady dropped back to pass, and as he attempted to throw the ball, he decided, I'm not going to throw anymore, and so he tried to pull the ball back in towards his body. Well, Raiders cornerback Charles Woodson knocked the ball out of Brady's hands, and then the Raiders recovered it, and they appeared to seal the game. But initially, it looked like Brady had fumbled the ball, but after video review, the officials overturned the fumble, citing something called the tuck rule. Now, according to this rule, if the quarterback's arm is moving forward with the ball as he's hit, it's considered an incomplete pass, not a fumble, even if the quarterback is tucking the ball back into his body. Now, because of this, the call was overturned, Patriots got the ball, they went on to kick a field goal and won in overtime. And because of this, they eventually would go on to win the Super Bowl. So after years of debate, the NFL finally abolished the tuck rule in 2013, and they clarified a distinction between fumble and incomplete pass. Under the new rule, if a quarterback loses control of the ball while attempting to pull it back into his body, it's now considered a fumble. Now let me tell you about the dark side of the NFL. This gets juicy. Between 2009 and 2011, the New Orleans Saints were found to have run a bounty program where payers were actually paid to injure opponents. The way it worked is they were given bounties or bonuses for actions like knocking out an opposing player out of the game, or if they caused an injury severe enough for medical attention. They also gave them extra payouts for injuring key players such as quarterbacks or a star receiver. And so basically they were encouraging their defenders to injure players rather than fair play. So this was orchestrated by defensive coordinator Greg Williams, but also involved was Sean Payton, the head coach, who failed to stop it, as well as general manager Mickey Loomis, who was accused of ignoring it. So when the NFL initially launched their investigation in 2010, there wasn't a lot of information, but around 2012, they did a thorough investigation and found significant evidence. So Commissioner Roger Goodell imposed some of the harshest penalties in NFL history. Greg Williams was suspended indefinitely. Sean Payton became the first head coach in NFL history to be suspended for an entire season in 2012. Jonathan Vilma and other players who participated received suspensions, but those suspensions were overturned on appeal. They also fined the Saints $500,000, and the team lost 2 second-round draft picks. Now, why was this significant? Well, Bountygate, as it became known, not only violated the NFL's rules, but it also damaged the integrity of the sport. It exposed the darker side of incentivizing violence in NFL in an already violent sport. So what do you think? Do you agree with these bans? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm John from Jumpers Junction. Thanks for watching.